Good morning, friends. Welcome to my channel. My name's Justin. I play guitar on songs here in Nashville. And today I want to talk about the secret to progress in practice. And I think in life, too. But first, I wanted to give you some updates. I've been super busy just trying to keep my head above water with the amount of recording that I'm doing. I'm also trying to grow this thing. I have a course coming out later this fall, or maybe toward the end of the summer. I'm not totally sure, so stay tuned for updates, I suppose. And that course is all about revisiting fundamentals in a way that is conducive to being creative. So not just learning things for the sake of knowing them as facts, but incorporating them in a way that we can make creative use of them. Making choices that make sense with how we're playing music and in what musical situations we might be in. So look out for that. So I also want to give an example a little bit later on of something that I realized, a weakness in my own playing that I would like to try to overcome. And I'm going to lay out a plan of attack that I have for that. But the bulk of this video is going to be about making progress through practice and why it's so dang hard and what our mindset needs to be. Practice, we generally think of it and think that's not fun. I don't want to do that. And in our modern culture, we are so focused on individualism, on doing and being whatever we want to do and want to be in the moment, that it's really hard for us to take a step back and set a goal that isn't immediately realizable or immediately attainable, realizable. And I think that's where the secret is to practice. You know, it's a long-term thing. It is the epitome of delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is our arch nemesis in our current culture, in the current, what do you want to say, zeitgeist, you know, of what everybody thinks and how people operate in real life, on social media, at work, you know, in friend context with friends, whatever. We want all the information right now, and we want all of the things, whether it's in app form or pill form, like whatever goal we have, give it to me now. I want it now. And there's just some things that we run face first into the brick wall of reality, and we realize, hey, that doesn't work. And immediate progress and immediate gratification when it comes to growing as a musician or growing in any worthwhile high-level area of life, it just does not happen that way. And I think that is as true and as dependable as gravity, you know. I've said in previous videos that progress, the nature of it and what it actually looks like, is a lot of not progress followed by a little bit of progress, and then a lot of not progress, and then a little bit more progress. I know I'm being a little bit circular by using the word that I'm trying to define in its definition, okay? Guilty. But I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense to say that what we want to see as progress, the thing, like, give me all the information. I want to buy the book. I want to buy the course. I want to buy the access and just have the information, and then I'm going to sit on it and not really use it. Are you guilty of that? I know I am, with so many different things. I have piles of information. Lack of information is not my problem at all. My problem is that I get this improper, out of alignment with reality vision of what progress actually looks like when it comes to playing, or whatever, when it comes to health and fitness, you know. I've mentioned in previous videos, again, going back to defining progress, it's like pushing a rock, right? I get up against this rock and I push as hard as I can, and I cannot move it. I cannot move it. And for days and days and days, I can't move it. And then all of a sudden, one day I move it 2 inches. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened? I see actual progress. I haven't seen this yet. That's very gratifying. Well, again, that gratification was delayed by all the time of not progress that happened before the progress happened, right? Then I come back the next day and it's not moving again. And then maybe it's a shorter amount of time that it moves some, you know? And throughout all of this, throughout all of these periods of not progress, we're reevaluating what we're doing, right? Is what I'm doing actually helping? How long do I continue while this rock doesn't move, you know? What else should I be trying? Should I push this way? Should I push this way? Should I try to kind of lift as I push, you know? Like, what am I doing? There is a constant self-evaluation that's going on. And man, that comes naturally to me because I'm hyper self-critical by nature. So I'm constantly evaluating my failures. But that progress of moving that rock, you might see that it moves after a few weeks a little bit. And then it doesn't, and then it moves after a week a little bit. And then you might have a couple months where you're like, what is happening? I have not had that gratification of the rock moving in my brain. It has not happened in forever. You reevaluate. Well, it's like fitness, okay? And I am not an expert, all right, but I have made major changes in my life over the past 10 months. I started working out in earnest last summer, and what I mean by in earnest is 6 days a week, okay? I have 3 days where I do push and core exercises, and I have 3 days where I do pull and leg exercises, okay? And there's a little bit of overlap here and there. I don't belong to a gym. I have a bunch of kettlebells and a sandbag and some dumbbells and a very tiny garage, and I just do it. For too long, I let I can't get a weight rack, or, well, last time I joined a gym, you know, they were total jerks about when I tried to cancel my membership when I moved. I'm nervous about getting into another situation where I have to, you know, just go all out to try to get them to let me cancel what is supposed to be a cancelable monthly membership. All these excuses, right? When it comes down to it, that's what they are. When I let something get in the way of a goal that I want to meet, I'm kind of making an excuse. And I'd been doing that with my fitness for a long time. I haven't worked out with any regularity or intention since college. So it's been 20 years. And I started last summer, and, you know, there are so many things in me that are like, no, I want to lie in bed. I want to lie in bed. I want to stay up late. I want to go to this show. I want to do this thing. And a lot of it, if I'm honest, is me just choosing the easier thing, okay? Or me just choosing the thing that is amusing, right? Like we're choosing amusement and entertainment, like streaming shows, scrolling through Instagram or YouTube. I scroll through YouTube thumbnails like nobody's business, and I like almost never click on anything. I don't know why. It's like, it takes a while. I got to find that thing that's actually compelling, you know, that I want to watch. So the fact that you're watching this, thanks a lot. I know that the amount of videos out there. There's just an oversaturation, right? So anyway, getting back to this fitness analogy, and I'll tie that back in with how I practice. I just had to choose to suffer without reward for an unknown period of time. That's really important. I'm going to say that one more time. I had to choose to suffer without reward for an unknown period of time until the reward of noticeable progress decides to show up, which I'm not exactly in control of when exactly that will be. And so I just started working out 6 days a week. I read all these things where when you hit 40, you start to lose muscle mass. Well, you start to lose muscle mass when you hit 40 because that's what happens when people age. That's not true. You lose muscle mass through disuse in your 40s. You know, time wins in the end, always, right? Life is terminal, okay? You gotta remember that. You cannot continue to grow and build muscle completely naturally all the way up until the point when you die, you know? And I think some people might think that you can, or that that's the goal, this whole transhuman thing, whatever. My whole thing is, I got to a point where I realized, hey, I kind of hurt all the time, low grade, you know? I'd thrown my back out a few times in my late 30s. I kind of have this job, or I have this job where I kind of sit half hunched over a guitar. My core is sort of atrophying because I'm not using it to balance. My arms and my shoulders and like the upper part of my ribs and the whole structure here is very asymmetrical when I'm playing, right? And all of that coupled with not pursuing intentional, rigorous physical activity was just making it so I had constant low back pain. My knees hurt. I could, you know, get out of breath really easily doing any strenuous activity. And I was like, what in the world? This sucks. And so I'm about 10 months into working out hard. And when I say working out hard, I mean like I lift heavy weight and I do some calisthenics and go for about 45 minutes to an hour, first thing in the morning. I will tell you now, looking back, it's like, wow, that's 100% worth it because all of the pain is gone. All of the pain is gone, okay? I don't throw my lower back out anymore. I don't even hurt in my lower back or my hips or like having a like sciatic pain, you know, running down one leg from one side of your lower back or whatever. Gone. It's all gone. And I have a friend who introduced some of the moves that I use now, like he was really helpful in. He was a big CrossFit guy back in the day and still works out all the time and is very fit, very active guy. And his like mantra, for lack of a better term, regarding fitness is motion is lotion. And I'm a believer. I think that's 100% true. I mean, unless you are injured or have some kind of chronic issue that you cannot repair through exercise and diet, like a permanently herniated disc or something like that, or a degenerative bone disease, or something going on with one of your joints that's from an injury or whatever, you can completely change your life through being fit. And so how does this get back to guitar playing? All right. Well, just like I was intentionally choosing to suffer with no real ability to pinpoint when the reward would come of getting healthier, you got to approach practice like that, okay? You have to commit to a regimen that you don't know exactly when you'll see the results from. That's true. And to me, it goes back with some of these like fitness and bow hunter guys that I pay attention to loosely online. I can't remember who said this, but I think it's also very true. You can choose how you suffer, okay? I can either eat whatever I want right now, have fun, you know, eat all the fried food, all the street tacos, all the chips. I'm not a big sweets guy. So, you know, for some of you, it's all the ice cream. And your body, basically you're putting fuel in your tank that your body doesn't run well on, okay? Over time, too slowly for you to notice, your body degrades and you create suffering for yourself in the future. You are investing in your future suffering by eating crap, okay? Again, this is that hard brick wall of reality we're running face first into. In the same way, if you just play licks that you're good at, and you just play things that you're already kind of good at, and never intentionally work on things you're bad at, you will never grow. And you are investing in that time in the future when you are going to hate your playing. That's it. You really are. You are going to hit this place in the future of, wow, nothing I do is inspiring at all. I hate my playing. Why do I hate my playing? And you're not going to come back to it. And it's going to be, or you're going to be frustrated when you do, and you're going to, there's this endless cycle that you get into of frustration and, or potentially endless, of frustration with what you're doing, putting it down, coming back to it. You're not investing in any intentional suffering in the present in order to invest in a time of reward in the future, which you can't control and can't see. This is delayed gratification that goes against everything in our culture, right? So that's the loop. And I would guess that a lot of you are in that loop. And you know, you're here because you're in that loop, and you like my playing, or you like the way that I explain some things or have broken down some things. You know, I am a habitual overthinker, so it's easy for me to just ramble about a lot of stuff, but I see parallels in my own progress as a musician and in how I set goals that I can't immediately see when I'm going to meet in the rest of my life. Okay, so again, with musical progress, it's putting in the hours. I'm not good at this. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to keep not getting the dopamine hit of playing something that I think is cool, or having somebody compliment me on something, you know, or whatever. I'm going to delay all of that to try to move this rock at some point in the future. Okay, and man, when it starts to move, all the delayed time of that gratification is worth it. Again, you're choosing to suffer now so you don't suffer in the future with your playing. Just like eating right now and being physically active and exercising is in a way choosing to suffer, because you're choosing things that aren't immediately gratifying to have better years later, to be stronger, to be able to do something later that's really hard, to be able to keep up with your kids. You know, that is a joy I hope to extend as long as I can, and a big motivator for why I'm trying to be really fit. why at the age of 43 I decided, hey, maybe you should just see what you're capable of. Try as hard as you can to build muscle, to get fit. So I've made a lot of choices. I am intentionally suffering now and putting in hours to see this reward that's in the future. And again, I might only move that rock like 2 inches, and then it'll take a long time before I come back to it and it moves again. And there might be periods where it's like, wait a minute, this isn't where I left it. It's farther back. What happened? Okay, reevaluate. What happened? You know, I mean, with exercise, you can't just do the exact same thing. You either have to do more of it, or with more resistance, or slow it down, or isolate in a way, you know. You have to continually make progress through the way that you exercise, right? In the same way, with your practice, I think that's true also. You have to change what you do. Whatever you thought of as practice, if say you've had the same picture in your mind of what practice is that you've had for 20 years, and you're in this position of like, well, I haven't actually made a lot of practice or a lot of progress, maybe your idea of practice is a little outdated. Maybe you've moved the rock as far as it's going to go based on what you've been doing. Maybe you need to up the ante a little bit. Maybe you need to add more plates to your bar, right? Let's check this out. I have this part of my playing that I don't love. And it's in my right hand, okay? And I would say 99.9999% of all of you probably don't have a right hand that you think is where it should be. Well, I'm right there with you. Even at my level, I'm still, you know, I've had this spot where it stayed at this one point, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, ugh, I'm not inspired by what I do, you know? I have a very, what do I want to say? I want to say complex right hand. And it's all born out of what I consider deficiency. I am not a good ultra clean picker. That Uncle Larry type rapid fire picking, I'm just not good at. But I also noticed, and what I want to start working on, this is something easier that I think is a more attainable goal. My upstrokes suck. I watch players like Uncle Larry play something and it's all upstrokes. All of it's upstrokes, right? And it sounds really great, and it sounds different than when they're playing with alternate picking or downstrokes or whatever. There's something else happening there with the angle of the pick or whatever. It's really subtle, but all my years of hyper self-criticism have led me to have a really decent ear. You know, I can hear that there's something different, there's something going on there. And I'm not good at it. So I'm going to start pushing that rock, okay? And it's not going to move for a long time, but I'm going to keep after it. So here's the way that I like to play. And this is, I'm just going to pull something off the top of my head and just kind of show you the different things that I do in my right hand. I play a lot with the pick and with the fingers. I really like the way my fingertips sound on the strings versus the pick, you know? And there's some ways when I'm just holding the pick and I'm kind of doing this all the way across the guitar and not even across all the strings and not even using the pick. And it's just all, you know, it's dependent on what I think sounds good and how I respond to my own thing and how inspired that is. And here's the problem for me. If I stay in this place of not being inspired by my own playing, the people I'm sitting in a room with who are around me, the people who hire me, they have awesome ears and they can tell. And it's at that point that they start saying, maybe we'll try somebody else, you know? Like when you start being uninspired by what you're doing, that's a red flag. That's a, hey, you should have been practicing a while ago at this point. So here's how I play. So there's kind of all of my right hand techniques all at once happening there. The playing with the fingers, the picking, the doing both where I'm plucking. That sounds different than raking across the string. It sounds different, right? So I'm employing lots of different techniques, but the one that I don't have is just the brrr. I mean, I've just never been that guy. And I've always kind of thought, well, you don't have those muscles. I've even told people that, like, I actually lack those muscles in the wrist or in the hand that allow me to be an ultra clean picker. I don't think that's true. I just think that I've never intentionally put my time and effort into growing that for long enough to see a reward, which again comes whenever it comes. It's not going to come when I know that it's coming. And so I have given up. I've tried a few times in the past, like got really intense with the metronome, got really like, I'm going to do this. I just didn't do it. I didn't stick with it long enough. It's kind of hard as someone whose full-time job is to play music, to find time to practice, especially when the playing the music is your job that exists to serve the higher purpose of providing for your family, right? So I found this thing that I want to try to do. I want to those are all upstrokes. And I feel like that sounds like the lamest thing I've ever heard. And it just feels really lame to me. And so I want to get to the point where that doesn't feel lame. It's like not only is it slow and sort of pedestrian to my ear, I also hear my pocket kind of disappear. I hear the compelling nature of the way that I phrase just goes out the window. So that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to start pushing that rock, you know, and we will see when I make progress. I will keep you all updated and post more videos about it. But, you know, I'm curious, how can you start practicing? What can you do to start pushing a rock, you know, that you know isn't going to move right away, but you can get to a place where it does, you know, after a few weeks, a month, a couple months. And then once it moves a little bit, are you going to stop and say, oh, well, I got it to move. That's good. Or are you going to keep going, you know? So hope you all have a great day. I'll talk to you later.